CES isn't just about what's next. It's about what's possible. And when technology intersect, the answer is anything. It transforms them into opportunities. Live healthier and experience the world in ways we never. Just here for a tech event. We're here to connect, to solve. Tech isn't just advancing, it's uniting. Bring an autonomous future, connecting us to better care, more economic and more human. Today's challenges. CES is where they start to take shape. Breakthroughs to help feed our growing world. This week isn't just a stage for discovery. Every screen, every pixel showcases the extraordinary potential of human ingenuity meeting technological power. Technological power. Now we begin this celebration of what connects us, has the power to solve our greatest challenges, and offers endless possibilities we're yet to discover. Right here, right now. The world is watching. So let's dive in.
Please welcome the president of the Consumer Technology Association, Kinsey Fabrizio.
Thank you. Welcome to CES 2025. We have all watched a dramatic transformation in the world of media over the past few years. New technologies are making it easier than ever to get information and personalize and helping connect people around the world. As we look to a new future for digital communication, X Corp is setting the agenda and reshaping the landscape for content creation, social platforms, and how technology empowers creators and communities to thrive. Under CEO Linda Yaccarino, X Corp has become the global newsroom in your pocket and a community that brings together global conversations and debates, sometimes, to life. Just like the company she leads, Linda is a trailblazer who embodies the spirit of CES with a career marked by innovation, resilience, and vision. She has risen through the ranks of some of the biggest media companies in the US, including more than a decade leading global advertising and partnerships at NBC Universal. Linda will be joined on stage by Catherine Herridge, an Emmy Award-winning investigative journalist. And as a senior investigative correspondent for CBS News from 2019 to 2024, and before that, chief intelligence correspondent for Fox News Channel. Herridge has a reputation for insightful questions and thought-provoking conversation. I hope you are as excited as I am for this meaningful conversation. Please join me in welcoming Linda and Catherine to the stage.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you for being here. Have
Go
fun.
for it. Meet fun. This is right. All right, Kinsey, thank you for the kind introduction. Linda, let's jump right in and begin with the announcement from Mark Zuckerberg earlier today that Meta is abandoning the fact-checking program in favor of a community notes-style system. What's your response?
How cool is that? I think it's really exciting that when you think about community notes being good for the world, think about it as this global collective consciousness, keeping each other accountable at global scale in real time. And it couldn't be more validating than to see that Mark and Meta realized that, right? And when you think about community notes, Mark and Meta realized that it's the most effective, fastest fact-checking without bias. Mark and Meta realized there's every language in almost 200 countries on the platform, fastest, most accurate. And also it inspires great behavior, right? Human behavior is inspired because when a post is noted, it's dramatically shared less. So that's the power of community notes. And we say, Mark, Meta, welcome to the party.
So what do you think is driving this? Do you think it's a genuine embrace of free speech?
Absolutely. I think that people all around the world have spoken. It's why there's almost 1 million community noters on X. And when you think about it, world leaders are on X. Where are all you, right? Mark and Meta are there, right? Global leaders, business leaders sharing their thoughts every day. Where are you? Gen Z, all on X. Authenticity matters to Gen Z. Where are all of you? The time now, go big on X. It's an incredible validation of the power of what's good for the world, and that's community notes.
We see all the posts on X about the big advertisers coming back. What's the data that supports that?
Well, there's growth everywhere we look. Every corner of X, there's growth. And when you think about the numbers, as you say, 90% of the advertisers are back on X. And it's really about 3 things, right? It's about safety. We've already talked about community notes, right? It's about safety, it's about product innovation, and then it's about that there's absolutely no surrogate for X, right? So if you start with the safety part, already talk about massive, massive success of community notes, but we also rolled out a suite of tools that didn't exist prior to acquisition. So all the tools marketers in this room care about, right? So controls and settings that let you engage on the platform as you wish. Brand safety and suitability partnerships, industry certifications, check the box, we did all the work. And think about that then leads to product innovation, right? Since acquisition, we have rolled out and shipped over 250 product innovations, more than in the last 10 years at the company. And one of those things, one of the best product innovations that I usually refer to it as, it may in fact be the holy grail of advertising products, is called Trend Genius, because it's something that only X can do.
Is that a new innovation?
New innovation.
2025?
Maybe. We probably beta tested with it within the last, I'm gonna say max 4 or 5 months.
And how does it work?
It's unbelievable. So everyone talks about what's trending on X, right? No surrogate for X, you have to check X. You gotta know what's going on. So the product we developed is when a trend kicks up on X and it hits a certain, let's call it altitude, right? Or it's really on fire on X, what's designed with advertisers that we have agreements with, their ad campaign gets fired up and it starts to take advantage of those trends. I'll put it in something that's easy to visualize. So for example, there was during a Taylor Swift concert, Bradley Cooper is spotted with Travis Kelce in one of the boxes, starts singing the Taylor Swift song. Oh my God, Bradley Cooper is now a Swiftie. So it starts trending on the platform. So what happened, because of our previous agreement with LVMH, and Bradley Cooper is an influencer for LVMH, that campaign starts kicking and fired in the real-time conversation that's talking about Bradley Cooper being a Swiftie in real time. So think about, for the marketers in the room, the holy grail: right ad, right place, right time. But now you're adding global scale in the conversation. And the most important thing about it is, because of the uniqueness of the trends, maximum efficiency. I mean, knock every KPI out of the park with something like Trend Genius, because then when the trend starts to cool down, then your campaign pauses and we move on to the next. Imagine that. And actually, coincidentally, I would have talked to you about this anyway, because it truly is the holy grail in ad product, but replicated during the Golden Globes, where you had Zendaya, who's also an influencer with LVMH, another campaign kicked because the trends were so hot with her showing up at the Golden Globes.
And the engagement. That was the big thing. Right?
Yes, the big announcement, and probably lasted like, what is that we see? Is there an engagement? So exciting, and that's what's been so effective, but it really does speak to, when you think about it, where there's no surrogate for X. When you want to know what's going on, red carpet fashion for the Golden Globes. It's like, I was talking about this the other night. It was like the first time that I stopped arguing with my husband over who has the remote for the TV, because you had the Golden Globes going on, and I was like dying when I was reading about, come on, Nikki Glazer's like fire monologue. But my husband is interested in the football game and wanting to, like, he's eyes glued saying this is consequential, and Jahmyr Gibbs 4 touchdowns. So we didn't have to fight over the remote anymore because it was breaking in real time in my hand. So that's what's been so exciting, and that's really what's leading to, the growth on the platform. And it brings you to what makes sense is recent poll showing that Gen Z is what's really fueling the growth of the platform. Ad Age, Harris poll, talking about the #1 brand getting Gen Z's attention is X. And why is that? It's things we're talking about. It's fashion, it's culture, it's sports, it's music, it's gaming, in real time when they want to see it, which is whenever they want to see it. Right. So it's been a really exciting moment, a really exciting time at X and the platform.
So in addition to Trend Genius, what are the other big innovations people can expect in 2025?
Okay, so we talked about that it was about 3 things, right? Yeah. So we talked about the safety, we talked about the ad products, that there's also, no surrogate for X, and it leads you to really partnerships like only X would do. If you're transforming the company like we are, you want to partner with the best brands, and there's no bigger, stronger brand than the NFL. So we just rolled out this season the NFL portal. So think about, we talk about X as the global town square. Think about the NFL town square, all conversation, all rankings, all stats, all video, all in one place. And the season's not even done yet. So far this year, 36 billion impressions around the NFL, 4 billion video views. So when you look at numbers like that, it really starts to crystallize in your mind what this was all about in the first place, and what the idea of becoming the everything app really means.
Are you thinking about expanding the portal model? And I'm thinking specifically about news. What are we expecting in 2025 in terms of news and journalism?
Well, I think it's safe to assume you will see, since we rolled out the NFL portal, soft launch with the portal to Paris with the Olympics, and you'll see other big leagues around the world, so global sports portal, it's safe to assume that that will expand. As far as news goes, it's...
Will there be a news portal?
Well, I think it's really exciting time. As you know, this year was a seminal year for X, particularly as it provided independent journalists a clear canvas to really explore their craft. That's such a challenge for them today. I mean, look at yourself. Come on, you knew I would check the numbers. Your followers are up over 35% since October. And there's a reason for that. When we look at the sad, challenged state of journalism today, when you think that a journalism just under pressure from financials, constant layoffs, you're reading about it today, the state of journalism today in legacy media, we know the future of news is not legacy media. Legacy media news has become almost like a fan service to make sure that you're speaking to a niche audience to make your budget, right? And what we want to do is make sure that we provide a great place for that journalistic curiosity to return, right? To make sure that there is a place for journalists to come thrive and earn a great living. We have a great creator revenue share program that we're very generous. We want to make sure that we pay off our promise to incent the livelihoods of the journalists who contribute to the free and fair press that the citizens of the world are missing. It's why what naturally rose up on the platform, where the shift in control, the shift in the narrative is now in the user's hand. And it's people like you and the exposés and giving whistleblowers a safe forum to talk about the stories that people are really interested in and inspiring change, really inspiring change by what's allowed by protected free speech and a two-way conversation of information accessibility, and not one-way filtered information of legacy news that is designed to make you think a certain way. It's a new day, a new era.
So it sounds like a news portal may be possible.
Well, it's a really good push, I have to say. She's very good, right? It's why I'm pretty excited to talk about X hiring John Stoll, right? Former editor and bureau chief of the Wall Street Journal, who's just joining us to help lead together the news group and partnership team at X to, again, bring everything we're just talking about to life and just expand it on such a global scale.
We're sitting down just 13 days before the inauguration of President Trump as the 47th President of the United States. Have you had a conversation with Elon Musk about how this is going to work with the Department of Government Efficiency?
Well, listen, Elon is a visionary, and there is no better person that can set a vision and a course for others to be inspired and follow. Maybe that's the question we ask Mark Zuckerberg today, right? So he inspires people to follow, and that's what I do with the team every day at the company, is to take that vision and to bring it to life and to execute with perfection. But as far as DOGE is concerned, I would imagine that surfacing, identifying government waste and inefficiency is beneficial to all of us. And I don't think there's two better people than Elon and Vivek to do that. And as Americans, we should all be rooting for the overwhelming success of DOGE. I would expect other countries to follow. And I would also imagine, you said the inauguration is about 2 weeks away. But I would imagine that DOGE and the success of DOGE will be talked about as probably one of the single biggest unifiers that will bring this country together. And it's something we should all be rooting for and really cheering for its success.
Do you expect Elon Musk to use X to advance his objectives for government efficiency?
Well, I think there's open dialogue on the platform, and there's no more transparent user of X than Elon, and he shares all his thoughts and feelings and vision on what he thinks about everything in his real life and his views on the world. And actually think about that we should encourage all business leaders, all government leaders to do exactly the same thing and share more, not less, because whether it's Elon, whether it's you, Catherine Herridge, or me, Linda Yaccarino, we should exercise our own individual freedom of speech rights, but also our life experiences and what we'd like to share and inspire other people. I was really taken a couple of weeks ago. Now that I think about it, if you saw, Elon was posting on the platform and having a real-time conversation with Sundar about quantum computing, like in real time. If you haven't seen it, you got to look it up. And I'm watching it going, this is the power of X. So you have these business leaders, world leaders. We encourage them to share more, not less. So I think it's really with growth exploding all over the platform. And obviously, you talked about the election, a validation that free two-way lane street of accessibility to information, that's what people want. And that authenticity now more than ever is rewarded. It's rewarded by the people, Gen Z the most. They want you to bring your real self because they talk about the election as being a podcast and an X election. That's where that comes from, because that authenticity is new table stakes. And I think that should inspire a lot of leaders all around the world to have at it.
There's tremendous power in an Elon Musk post. I checked last night, he has over 211 million followers. And look at what's happened in the last week with the grooming gangs scandal in the UK. As CEO, does it cross any red lines when you start to see reporting about the UK Prime Minister considering changing the nature of the relationship between the UK and the US?
Well, you know, first of all, I don't think about it as red lines. I think about it in a different way, like I said, of, you know, really a different perspective. It's more than less. And what I would really say as a mom, you're a mom. If not for X, where would the conversation be about to save thousands of girls, to bring people to justice who must be brought to justice? So I say more than less. And those grooming trials would have stayed silent, and now we're looking at an inquiry. So I look at bravery and vision and the courage to do that. So I think that saving those girls, preventing any other girl in the world to be exposed to such sick depravity as a mother, I ask all of you, that's what deserves a round of applause.
It is quite something to see these conversations playing out in real time online and seeing responses from European leaders alleging that Elon Musk is engaging in political interference or meddling. How do you respond to those?
Did you say peer leaders? I'm sorry. I really
European.
Oh, European. I'm
yes.
sorry. I really think it's interesting because I was reading that in real time. I don't understand how that's interfering in elections. There's influential people all over the world stating their points of view. Publications either endorse or state their points of view all the time. I saw a lot of that popping up. And it really isn't about that. It's about that it's a different point of view. And it's not the current, I think, talking points of yesterday that was acceptable. And I go back to what I just said. If not for X, where would those girls and future girls be? So I say more, not less.
X is the #1 news app in how many countries now?
Oh my gosh. I think it's nearing a couple of hundred.
Yeah. Okay.
It's the #1 news app in the world.
And what do you think explains that?
I think it's pretty simple, right? And it's the core foundational value of X, which is protecting the freedom of speech around the world. And when the freedom of speech is protected, democracies are able to be successful and thrive. And that means the global town square, which invites all walks of life to come and share their points of view, is enabled. and becomes popular. What it's also about is how technology has liberated information. You and I, we spent most of our careers at legacy media, right? And what our jobs became was working within these boundaries of what legacy media was. Almost the way I talk about it, like stacking the proverbial sandbags to try to prevent the future from overtaking us before it happened while we were there. Well, when you look at why has the X become such a popular news app, it is because, right? I said, I want to go there. I want to go where the free flow of information is encouraged, where the users are given the respect to make their own decisions and see both points of view. Can you see it now all kind of stitched together, coming together? Community notes, the protection of free speech, all of this ad innovation, it was the vision all along.
Well, it's very hard to argue with the data. Let's talk about 2024. What were the watershed events in terms of engagements and the numbers?
You know, I think there are a lot of watershed moments for the platform. When I think about last year at this time, we were testifying in front of the US Senate about X's P0 priority of protecting children all around the world. And it gave everyone like a wake-up call. We said, wow, there's real people at that new company reshuffling priorities, and their priority is protecting children. But then when you kind of fast forward, let's talk about the last bunch of months, and you look about the watershed moments of the results of the election. All eyes were on X. 3 biggest days on the platform. You know, unfortunately, the first assassination attempt on President Trump. You had Election Day, right? And you also had Biden stepping out of the race.
Right, that window with the debate.
Yes,
Yeah.
so the debate. It all came together where there was the highest days of usage on the platform globally. And now you look at it, and those seminal moments are still continuing because X has crossed into that really no surrogate that could perform. You're watching the new government unfold, right? And you're seeing all the nominees announced, the background all of a sudden coming up, and you're watching it in real time. And I thought to myself when this first started happening, and President-elect Trump was starting to announce his nominees, and I thought, wow, in real time, no surrogate for X, but this is really an example of a government of the people, by the people, for the people. I felt a part of it. And I think a lot of people share that view, and that's where they come to X now to enjoy that, which is no surrogate. I need to find out what's happening, and I need to check X.
You mentioned this earlier. It feels like 2024 was an election. Independent journalism, podcasters like Joe Rogan really broke the back of traditional media, especially with 60 Minutes and the presidential interviews. I don't think you would ever have expected 4 years ago that candidates would skip 60 Minutes.
Yeah, I don't think they would have ever skipped 60 Minutes, and there was no other platform that would encourage it, whether it was Joe Rogan and some of the other podcasts, or X certainly wouldn't have done it. And it's something we wear that, kind of that X badge of honor very proudly.
In closing, in 2025, is there a single idea or concept or technology that will take X to the next level?
Oh goodness, what a question. If there are any Xers in the room or watching, there's things that haven't been thought up yet, or maybe there's one person that thought of them already. So to predict 25, but I would say what's in front of us now, I would say 2 things that'll continue to just change the way any user comes to expect what a social media platform is. And I would talk about X money, right? It is going to change both payments and the opportunities creators on the platform forever. And then you have to talk about Grok, right? So those 2 things together, profound differentiation for our company and profoundly propelling us like at breakneck speed into 25.
Just in the final 10 seconds, what do you think the engagement numbers will look like in 2025?
a lot higher than they were in 2024.
All right, Linda Yaccarino, CES.
Thank you.
Thank you for the opportunity today.
Thank you.